Okay, so this is around blocks to changing, any resistance we have to change, any fears that we have to change. Any stubbornness to change that's coming up. All right, let's work with fear first. Oh, you know, I once heard that fear is kind of like a cat being backed into the corner, right? Like they arch their back and their tail goes straight up, and it's to try to like look like they're much larger than they really are. So it's just kind of like an intimidation thing. So when we think about fear and fear of change, lots of things are coming up, like lots of generational stuff I'm feeling as well, such as, oh, I can't change. Things have never been easy for me. Things are always hard for me. These are all limiting beliefs coming up. So as they come up, I just want you to honor them. You can tap to help move the energy. You can shake things out. You can kind of be flicking, your hands, just to kind of let things break up. You can also just grab a pen and paper and just scribble. Just sit there and scribble out kind of the energy, to help your body process it. um, More stuff generational is coming up, such as, it's hard to change. Hard to change. Think about like family patterns where everyone was a farmer or everyone's a doctor, or and all of a sudden you're trying to break off of that, right? Think of all the upheaval from family, or the feeling betrayed, them feeling betrayed if you're going to change and up level. Let's let that one go. Um, there's also the fear of judgment. What happens if I do change? I don't even know that version of me changing. What does that look like? I'm afraid. This will probably come up in the personal power section later. But what's coming up right now is like, I'm afraid to be whole. I'm afraid to be healed. I'm afraid to like have all of my light, because then what happens? I'm bright and I'm shining and the world will see it. And then what? Right? So there's that fear, like not wanting to draw attention or to stand out in a crowd. um Now, whether I say it or not on these calls, my intention is to always clear the family lines. So if you kind of think of like yourself as like a tree trunk, and your roots are all your ancestors before you, we're going to clear backwards through the roots and then bring all that light and healing up through the trunk and then out to the branches and the leaves. This is your children, your posterity, your family members, like siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, basically whoever wants this, right? Um, we want to be able to help, break generational patterns and heal those so that we don't have to carry them forward. Ooh, remember tapping if you need to help you clear. And as I'm yawning, let that be a cue to you to kind of take a nice deep breath. Often we're not breathing very deeply. And those deep breaths cause neuropeptides to help break up the chemical components of emotions, because emotions are chemical reactions inside of our body. Um, I'm getting an image of like a little girl, probably 5 or 6 years old, just like in her bedroom on the floor, throwing a temper tantrum of, I can't, I can't, I can't, I can't. And I won't, I won't, I won't. It just seems like something was hard for her, something that she such as like learning to read. I'll never be able to read, right? Like, I don't even remember how I learned how to read. I don't have any memories of that, but guess what? I can read. And so let's kind of picture the little girl, like an angel coming to her that's a teacher and saying, look, and just kind of giving her a vision like, it's going to be okay. And you will succeed. So see that little girl kind of like pick herself up, dry her eyes off, and just kind of have like that superwoman pose, like shoulders back, chin high, like I now see that I can. I am capable of change. Change can be easy. Change doesn't have to be hard. I see evidence of other people changing, therefore that means I can change. It is safe to look at my weaknesses and know that I can change them, that I have support from those who love me, whether they be here on earth or on the other side of the veil. All right. So I'm getting, it feels a little safer, right? To change and to adapt, to grow, to learn. You can always play around with the words. If I say like something like it is safe to change and that like causes fear or panic or anxiety in your body, then try on a new word, such as like I'm willing to believe that it could be safe to change, or I'm gonna try this and see how I feel, like if it's safe for me to change, or um I've decided I can change, right? Like just changing up the words so that you're not like triggered can also help shift the energy. um, what's coming up next is the root chakra. Um, Kind of like a death grip on um, like identity. Excuse me. Um, Such as, excuse me, family identity. Like what is our family known by? If I change anything too drastic, then people will know. Um, it's almost like an abandonment of family or values, traditions, whatever. And I just want you to honor any of the emotions that are coming up with this, knowing that it can be safe to let these go. Um, for some, it feels like, if I break these family patterns, um, or these limiting beliefs, then that would put me on a new path. And that's scary. That's unknown. And I'm like leaving my family behind. So let's just kind of give an upgrade to that limiting belief that as you continue to up level in life and change and grow and adapt and become more whole and healed spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, others will see that and follow your example. Take a nice deep breath. And remember, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to unmute or type in the chat. You can send me a direct message if you'd like. There's a overall just resistance to change coming up. I'm kind of having like an image of like my childhood growing up. There was like one family that ever moved in, and that was it. Like the people stayed married, they stayed happy in their families, like no one was getting divorced or anything. And then it's like I graduated high school and it's like poof, everybody disappeared. And then people were moving out of, my hometown and disappearing. And I'm like, where did everybody go? Like my childhood, I just thought everybody like grew up, you got married, you stayed married, you had kids, and then you lived in the same house like forever. And so that was kind of a shock to me, to realize that there's so much change. And I think in like, I don't know, it was something like 10 years that I'd been gone, I'd moved like 16 times and I'd never moved. I was like, what? So there's, kind of that fear or panic, of change coming up. Basically, it's a fear of the unknown. So just clearing out the rest of that, just kind of like general resistance to change. Changes like the seasons, winter's coming up, fall's currently beautiful and crisp, but winters, they can be hard on people, but we know that spring is coming, right? Like that is something that we can always count on, is the next season in life. There we go. I felt that one in like the heart and the throat chakra. All right. Affirmations are coming, such as, again, I know I've said this one, but it's coming up. It can be safe to change. It can be easy to change. I can change habits in an instant. You see like both sides of the coin. You see people, for instance, with, the habit of smoking who have tried their entire life. And then you hear others that just quit overnight, right? Same thing with weight loss. Someone just lost all the weight just like that, and others take forever, right? Like you decide where you want to be, right? Like what beliefs would you prefer to have that changes easy and you can do it quickly? Or does it have to be a struggle? And if it has to be a struggle, that could be a journal question. Why do I struggle to change? Why is change so hard for me? What beliefs are coming up? And then you can tap them out, yawn them out, kind of picture pulling them out, whether it's like pulling like yarn or string out of your heart, like you're removing any of that. Lots more energy shifting. Yeah, so journaling can get a lot of this stuff out. You can also look at like the main thoughts that you have or the things that you say, like, why is it so hard to change? Why can I not change this? I've tried for years, right? So those are programs and limiting beliefs running. So we'll want to change them. And yes, it can be as easy as identifying them and then replacing them. Like picture pulling them out, picture, removing that program and putting in a new one. Um, there we go. Um, more affirmations such as Okay, so there's some triggers coming up. I was gonna say the affirmation of like, I am deserving of change. I'm worthy and deserving of change. Um, or to change a certain circumstance, or situation or like relationship. But worthy and deserving are trigger words often. So just kind of tap and just say, you know what, those are just neutral words. Those are just neutral words. They don't have to have an effect on me. Or they don't have to have a negative definition. Um, there's one trying to like connect you to miracles, such as it is easy to see miracles in my everyday life. It is easy to see miracles in other people's lives. That was a lot of energy. My ears were popping, so it's almost like, okay, like let's use our senses. What are we seeing? What are we hearing, that are considered miracles in people's lives? They still happen on a daily basis, and they can happen for you. That one's coming up. um Another one is, even though I'm imperfect, I still can connect to my higher power, whether that's God or the universe. Um, so even though I'm imperfect, it can be safe to connect to my higher power, or I'm always connected to my higher power. That one's opening up like a whole can of worms. I feel like that we're not going to go down that path today, but maybe we'll do that in a future class, regarding connecting to the divine. All right, let's see any other blocks regarding change. Oh, stubbornness coming up. I don't want to change. See like an image of a little girl stomping her feet. I don't want to change. I don't want to change. And you know what? That's okay too. You can honor that part of you, but still be like open to change, right? Like you don't have to completely close off to change, but you could like just open the door a little bit, just crack it open and see what change could be like for you, or experiment with how easy it could be. Oh, I'm seeing some that are willing to open the door and some just slammed it. Shut that door right back. Put it back to lock. And that's okay. Again, go into like having compassion for yourself. Like, where are you in your journey of life and healing and learning and being aware of other things going on, such as like your thoughts and how they, help to create your reality, like just give yourself grace. It doesn't matter what age you are, we will always continue to learn if we choose, right? It's a choice. Um, so it can be safe to learn new things. Oh, I'm never too old to learn. Oh, learning can be exciting and fun and new and interesting. Oh, we've got some limiting beliefs coming up about like schoolwork and subjects that you may not have enjoyed. Maybe it was math that triggered you, or science, or like college classes, or things like physics or chemistry, or even like reading, whatever triggered you. Know that that doesn't have to be your experience brought into every single learning experience. All right, hopefully you guys are tapping and taking some nice deep breaths, letting things go. Grab some more water if you haven't. Need to allow all these things to flush out of us. Remember, you can kind of shake it off, help break things up. All right. It feels like there's one more coming up of like it's a pain, like a pain in the neck to change, or it's a pain. It's just like saying it's a pain, it's a pain, it's a pain. Um, and neck is like not being able to like be flexible and be able to see things from different points of view. Ooh, this is very generational, like deep, deep generational stuff of, only being able to see one thing. Got a comment. That's me for sure. Um, it's okay. It's okay. Honor it, recognize it's there, and then decide what you want to do with that. But yeah, deep, deep generational stuff. It's a pain. Um, yeah. I think of like my grandparents that are older who have seen so much change in their lives, and here they still are. My grandpa's got a cell phone. He finally upgraded to a smartphone. He's learning things. He's calling me or coming over and asking for help. And I love that. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like 86 and still doing this. Some people are like, but that's okay. And, we honor and respect everyone where they are, but I just think it's so great for those that are open to learning new things and never being too old to learn, because we definitely will never know everything in this life. All right. So tap anything else out. Remember, you can vocalize your own emotions that are coming up or your own limiting beliefs and kind of work on breaking that up and breathing it out, nice deep breaths, letting it all go. Yeah. Another thing is journaling. After going through this recording, you can journal and, see what comes up. Did anything kind of feel like I can't let that go, or I'm not ready for that, or if I change, then fill in the blank, right? Because journaling can bring up a lot of answers and then you can work through those.